Hi, my name is Lissa. I hope you guys had the opportunity to watch the first video that I talked about kind of my journey over the past 20 plus years. I just want to thank you guys so much for your support and for watching this video as well. Today I wanted to dive more into the symptoms that I've been having over the past several years, especially the past year. As I had mentioned in the last video, about a year ago, it was in August of 2022, I went into a really bad mast cell flare, and the medication that I had been taking over the past 7 years that has really been hit or miss for me, depending on how my body reacts to it. I wasn't tolerating that medication, and that was the only medication that was keeping me stable, or semi-stable, I should say. That medication has been vital for me to be able to sleep and to eat over the past 7 years. When I try to sleep at night, I have some really horrific symptoms. I have this feeling on the inside where my body feels like it's like a shock or a zapping sensation, and it makes my body jerk. And so I'll have different jerking issues with my limbs or my neck, or and it just happens repeatedly over and over and over again. So unfortunately I haven't been able to, doctors haven't been able to figure out where that's coming from, and so I've had to take that medication to help me sleep and to eat. And so last summer, when things had gotten really bad after the trip and things had been going downhill, you know, slowly over time, and my autonomic nervous system had been getting worse over time as well. And so I think it was just like the perfect storm. And basically I went into a really bad flare, and I had several ER visits because I was having a hard time breathing, and I couldn't eat and I couldn't sleep. And that persisted for several months. I really struggled. I lost about 25 pounds in 4 months, and I had very little sleep. And my autonomic nervous system, I'm going to refer to it as my ANS because it's a mouthful of words, but my ANS was just going crazy, and it still has been. Finally in December, we were able to find a medication that I've been able to semi-tolerate, and that's been really hit or miss as well. It's had to be specially formulated, but there's times that my body reacts to it horribly. But without that medication on board the past like 8 months, I definitely would not be able to eat. I got to the point to where I wasn't able to eat anything last summer and last fall, because my stomach was just so incredibly nauseous, and I was reacting to any kind of food that I put into my body, and that's due to the mast cell activation disorder. Mast cells are in everyone's body, and they have normal functions, but when you have mast cell activation disorder, your mast cells start to behave inappropriately, and they can start to be triggered by really benign things. And for me, I get triggered by a number of things, but especially food, or anything that goes into my mouth orally, like supplements or medications. And so mast cells can wreak havoc on the body in multiple systems, and they can cause symptoms from head to toe. Just to name a few would be like headaches, pain, shortness of breath, anaphylaxis, rashes, prickling and burning throughout the body, neuropathy, swelling, digestive issues, like really bad digestive issues, you name it. It can cause insomnia. Basically, the mast cells can send out over 200 chemical messengers throughout the body into any system, into any of your systems, so it can really wreak havoc on your body. And also your ANS system is responsible for all the automatic functions in your body, so your heart rate, your blood pressure, your breathing, your digestion, a lot of things that your autonomic nervous system does. So when that starts to go haywire and go crazy, I was experiencing, and I have been experiencing, quite a lot of symptoms. And my doctor believes that the ANS is driving a lot of what's going on. And the problem is we haven't been able to really get to the root cause. And that's kind of what I've been digging for and trying to really get to the bottom of the past year, because I really want to heal. And we've tried a handful of medications over the past year, and unfortunately my body hasn't accepted them. There's one that it did accept, but it's been hit or miss, and that's the one that I mentioned that's helped me to eat. I have been able to gain that weight back, but now I'm having issues on the other side to where I can't keep my blood sugars up. My blood sugars keep dropping within sometimes an hour and a half of eating a good hearty meal, or within 3 hours. So there's something definitely going on there. I'm still having a hard time. I've had some abnormal lab work done. They're endocrine labs, and I've seen 3 different endocrinologists, and I'm not getting anywhere, any answers with that. So I've been digging really hard, or working really hard with this doctor the past year. We've ran lots and lots of tests to try to see if there's any underlying like infections or, you know, disease processes, or what could be causing my mast cell activation disorder, what could be causing the ANS problems. And then I have another huge issue is the connective tissue disease. And that has really gotten worse over several years. Like I had mentioned before, I have pain now throughout my whole body. And with the connective tissue disease, basically your ligaments start to get really lax and your body stops producing collagen the way it's supposed to. And it can be genetic, but it also can be caused by different diseases. And oftentimes they find mast cell activation disorder with a connective tissue disease, which is EDS, and some form of dysautonomia. They often find those together, and I have all 3 of those. The connective tissue disease has a lot of the joints in my body are having issues and having pain, and I'm having extreme muscle issues. I have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but there's something going on with my muscles that's progressively gotten worse, and it's not due to limited activity. My muscles get weak really quick and easy. So even when I try to brush my teeth, my arm will get fatigued and it will start to burn, and it'll get really heavy and it will start to hurt. And so just sitting here holding myself up is really hard on the muscles in my back, because they get fatigued really easy. And that's been something that's been progressive as well. So I hope to get to the bottom of what is causing my muscles to be so weak. It's affected my neck tremendously. My neck is really, really, really bad, and it plays a big, huge role into all of this, and that's kind of where my journey's headed. Being that I haven't been able to tolerate the medications the doctors want, or this particular doctor has wanted to use to try to calm down my ANS and to calm down the mast cells, and you know, even taking those medications, it's just a band-aid. Like, it's not getting to the bottom of it. But with my neck, just to kind of break it down a little bit, with my C1 and my C2, the top vertebrae, there's so much instability in there. I've been formally diagnosed with 2 different types of instability from a surgeon that I met with remotely out on the East Coast. And those vertebrae can wreak a whole lot of havoc on your system as well. They can affect your autonomic nervous system. They can affect the blood flow to your brain. They can affect the fluid that surrounds your brain. So there's a lot of things that I still need to dig into, but I do know by imaging, MRIs, that I do have severe instability in those vertebrae, and they can be causing basically damage to the brainstem. And so they are able to see that those vertebrae are touching the brainstem in certain positions. And so my next endeavor is to try to work with a new provider to figure out, I've already seen him one time, and he definitely knows that there is neurological problems going on, clear signs of, you know, some brain damage or a brain injury, not necessarily because I've been through any sort of trauma, but there's signs that things aren't working properly in my brain. But he just recently ordered a test that I had done to look for any sort of autoimmune diseases against my brain. So it's a big long panel checking for autoimmune diseases. What's really kept me in bed this past year is because my autonomic nervous system has been creating so many problems. It's hard for me to be upright. When I am upright, I have a lot of dizziness, and gravity weighs my body down. My doctor described it as the brake pedal on a car being pushed to the max and the gas pedal being pushed to the max. And so my autonomic nervous system is really imbalanced, is like a major dysfunction there. And if you did that in a car, the car would start to sputter and it would start to shake. And I've had some really ugly symptoms over the past year throughout my whole body, where I've had lots of tremors and shaking and like just feeling like I was gonna jump through my skin, and it's just been horrible. It's been the worst and the scariest feelings I've ever had. And there was a long period of time that I wasn't sleeping and I wasn't eating because we couldn't get any of that calmed down. And thankfully, this medication that I started in December, it's helped calm a little bit of that down, but it's barely touching it. I mean, it's not making a huge difference. It's still extremely hard for me to be upright because of the dizziness and the gravity, and my heart rate goes up really high. My heart rate is even high at rest, and so that's an indicator that something's wrong in the autonomic nervous system. So when I'm up and I'm trying to even stand maybe at the kitchen sink, I'm having a hard time breathing as well, because my heart's working really hard to get the blood flow up to my brain. And so I have shortness of breath issues pretty much all of the time. And just turning my head and looking around, it feels very woozy, and I get dizzy and lightheaded. So I have a lot of issues in my eyes with tracking motion of any kind. So when my son is in front of me and he might be jumping or just moving like a normal kid, it triggers my eyes really, really bad, to where it triggers my stomach and it sets off a reaction in my body. So it's all connected. And you know, we've learned over this past year that my ANS is driving a lot of this, but what is the cause? And that's what I still want to get to, because I want to heal and I want to be present in my family's life again. And, you know, unfortunately, I have not been present in my son's life very much over the past year. And just tonight, he was crying to his dad about, you know, how he doesn't get to see his mom very much. And the reality is this past year, I really have just been existing and not living. And I know from the outside looking in, like, I look like I'm doing okay, but I'm not. There's multiple things going on from head to toe. And it's extreme suffering. It's unbearable, and it's been unbearable. And I know that medications haven't been the answer for me, and so I hope to work with providers who can help fix the problem. Hopefully we can get to a place where we can fix the problem, and there are some solutions that I'm going to talk about in the next video that kind of dive more into, like, what kind of treatment am I going to do to try to get better, because medication is not the answer. It's not going to fix me, and also my body doesn't want to accept those medications in at this time, even if they're specially formulated. You know, like I said, we've tried a handful and I haven't done well with them. I'm thankful for the little bit of progress that's been made, where I've been able to get some sleep and be able to eat, which I wasn't able to do for several months at the end of last summer and last year. But I'm still very not mobile. Like I haven't been able to get out of bed to do normal things, just to get up and eat and maybe take a shower. It takes a lot for me to even be able to take a shower. It takes a lot out of me physically. So I'm sure there's a lot more that I could say, and I know that this video is getting long. I appreciate you listening. And the next video, like I said, I'm going to get into more of like what provider I'm just started to see and where I'm headed, and you know, hopefully, you know, God will fulfill his purpose in me, and I know that he knows the plans he has for me. And you know, I ask for your prayers, because it's not only physically is it, you know, super hard to endure every day, but spiritually and emotionally it's been an extremely hard journey. And I just hope to regain some kind of quality of life back, where I can at least be present with my family and be present with my son and be a mom and a wife, because this past year I haven't been able to be. And so I thank you for your time and look forward to the next video, and I can kind of tell you where I'm headed on this journey. Thank you.